Hi guys, welcome to day 5 of What My 20s Taught Me. In this episode I'll be sharing a very interesting story that is dear to my heart. In 2013, and this is like one of the highlights of the year for me, in 2013 I was transferred from Lagos to Ilesha, a small town in the southwestern part of Nigeria, to serve another branch of my church in Ilesha. And I was serving with a more senior pastor, a very old man at the time. He was over 80 years old, but I enjoyed every bit of my stay in Ilesha with him. But this is not about him. It's actually about his driver that I happened to meet while I was serving God under the leadership of this man. So I met this young man. He's probably in his late teenage or early, he will be in his 20s, I reckon, at the time. A young man is from a Muslim background. He knows his job well. He drives very well. But his job and the faith of the people he's working with are totally disconnected. So he drives you to church but stays inside the car. He has nothing to do with what's going on. When we gather to pray together in the mission house in the morning, he doesn't show up, and nobody questions him about that because everybody understands that that's just him. It's not his thing, basically. And when I noticed that by my second, third day of staying in the mission house, it's piqued my interest, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. Of course, as of that time, I don't know how long I was going to be in Ilesha for. I expected that I was going to be there till the church decides otherwise, to say, okay, now we want you to go and serve somewhere else. It turned out that I only spent 21 days serving in Ilesha before I was transferred back to Lagos from where I came initially. But in those 21 days, a beautiful story evolved. So God literally, specifically told me, the way I hear him speak to me, I felt it was a persuasion that I should never preach to this young man. Rather, the concept or the idea God gave me was, okay, move into the same room with him and live there. So here is a mission house with lots of rooms, but out of the abundance of rooms, I chose to stay in the same room with the driver. And we became conversational. By 1 week, we were talking together, and there was nothing especially significant or extraordinary that I did. I just did what I would normally do if I were to be living in another room on my own. So he listens to my phone conversations, he listens to the kind of music I listen to on my laptop. He basically was drawn into my world without any pressure. I was just living out my life, my normal life, in his presence, and without being judgmental or condemning of anything that he was especially doing or not doing. What I noticed is by the second week, I came into the room one day and I saw him flipping through my Bible. Now, my Bible is always on my bed. It's easily accessible for me to pick it and read it there, and it's always on the bed. So he came into the room and started flipping through the Bible, which is something he would naturally not do. I came into the room, saw him doing that, did as if I didn't see anything, withdrew myself outside, took a bike, went to the nearest Christian bookshop and bought the exact same type of Bible, and came back and I gave it to him and said, that's your own copy. You can leave mine now. And he got it. He collected it as a gift, but that was just it. He wasn't especially glad that I gave him a Bible or anything. But he received it from me with thanksgiving. And then by the third week, I just noticed one particular night that when the pastor I was serving under rang the bell, as is his custom, by 9 o'clock in the evening, he rings the bell, and then we all come together to pray. And as I came out of the room to come and join the man, I noticed that the driver came along with me and joined us in the prayer. Everybody was surprised, like, what's going on here? The next morning, a letter came requesting that my services are now being needed at the headquarters in Lagos, and I had to be transferred back, and I was going to be leaving in a couple of days after the letter. When this young man got news of the fact that I'm going to be leaving, he was very sad. He literally broke down in tears, and he was talking to me and sharing and saying, no, who's going to continue what you've started? I'm like, I didn't start anything. It's the Spirit of God himself that started it, and he that has begun a good work in you, I'm persuaded that he's more than able to finish it. But the message I intend to, or this, that the story taught me, because as a matter of fact, it taught me myself a lesson, and that's the fact that we can let our little light shine from our just everyday conversation. You don't know how much you are doing. You don't know how much seed you're sowing. You don't know how much of an influence you're being to people by just being yourself as a Christian and allowing the Christ in you to live out the Christ life through you to them. Because that was basically what I did. There was a specific instruction not to preach to him, but I discovered that I ended up preaching more than preaching without using a word. I think it was Mother Teresa that said that we should preach by all means, and when necessary, use words. Someone did say that. In other words, the person is saying that you only use words to preach when you have to use words to preach. But the most of the preaching or the evangelizing that goes on in our world on a daily basis are done without words. They are done by your gestures, they are done by your actions, they are done by those little things that you do here and there. But now, that's not how the story ended. The day I was going to be leaving in Elisha for Lagos, again, it was very sad in the morning to know that I was going to be leaving. And he said, I want to be like you. I want to grow up to be a pastor like you, and all of that. And I went into my wardrobe, brought out my best suit at the time, where we looked like we would be using the same size. So I got my best suit. It was the suit I used for my brother's wedding. I was his best man. So I got the suit, got a shirt, got a tie, got a pair of shoes, and I left everything with him and said, if you want to be a pastor, start dressing like one. I mean, that's how pastors, most pastors in the circle of my church tradition, that's how they dress in Nigeria. And he got it with Thanksgiving. He was very happy. Now, I went back to Lagos. I almost forgot about this story. But about a month later, I'm now working at the headquarters in Lagos, and there was a meeting of executive council members, and this pastor that I was serving with in Elisha was part of them. So he came over to Lagos, being driven by this same young man. As I got to the end, the gate, I was walking back home I was going to go and take a bus to go back home, when I saw him driving through, and he spotted me from afar. He parked the vehicle with the old man inside the car. He didn't even mind, and then he came out to come and greet me with a hug. And it's not just the hug, but the fact that I saw this same young man wearing the suit, the shirt, the tie, the pair of shoes that I gave him. It was, I found myself in tears, literally, because I felt like, wow, the seed that was indeed sown seemed to be blooming. I don't know where it is now, I don't know what it's doing now, but it left me with an indelible message, it left an indelible mark in my heart, and a message that I would never forget, that the little gestures that you do, the little acts of kindness that you do, the things you do by living out your normal Christian life actually goes a long way. So don't hide it. This little light of yours, let it shine. See you tomorrow. God bless you. Bye.